big blue button. And now we could tell you, Jim, that you can't be saying the stuff that you said backstage because we are now live, okay? And
That's absolutely right.
I don't have a swear button on this soundboard either.
I don't think I do either, actually.
You see, the thing about Jim is...
no, we always leave that to the end of the show because it's a surprise for everybody. So, how are you going, lads? Anyway,
good,
brilliant, stellar, awesome.
How's your weekend, or end of the weekend?
End of the weekend, yeah, the end of the end of the weekend. It's doing pretty good. Yeah, I got a bike. I did some exercise today. Y'all pray for me.
An e-bike?
No, I got a real bike.
An e-bike. Oh. What prompted you to go buy a bike?
I've always ridden bikes. That's why I've got this muscular, lithe frame.
Right. You are a very tall man. Be very interesting to see you. Do you wear Lycra when you ride?
Lycra? No, I wear nothing.
Jesus Christ, it went from bad to worse. I'm like, we didn't really need to know that, Hayden, and then he jumped in with the...
Oh, no Harley this time, Lee. I've had one in the past. I don't know if I'll have another one.
Thank you, Ryan, for 1 month as a member. He's looking to buy a 200-foot used tower. Well, hopefully we can find you one that's gone missing.
About time you got the soundboard working.
Yes, finally got the soundboard. And Andy gets one as well. So this is a classic, isn't it?
Oh yeah, tequila.
So we've got the soundboard back, boys.
Hey boys, for the boys.
So Ryan, when Ryan said about trying to buy a used 200-foot tower, so that's what we are going to discuss today. Is how the heck do you lose one?
But Ryan's actually close enough. It could have been him that took it.
Could have really? I thought K5. K5's like Texas, isn't it? Or it doesn't matter anyway.
I believe Ryan's in Louisiana.
It could be Mississippi. Well, yeah, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas.
Because you can take your call wherever you want now, can't you?
Yes, you
can.
My
9 call in Texas and Jim's 1 call in Bama.
Yep. So I've been busy this weekend. I got a new tower, and I've been outside getting it put up today.
Right?
200-foot tower.
Nice.
Thanks,
Slightly used, low mileage, only driven by a little old lady to church on Sundays.
You're going to have stacked Yagis 4x4x4?
That's right.
Does it come with antennas?
I'm going to rent it out to remotehams.com. They can start paying me.
Jim, go big or go home, Perry.
That's right.
The milkman.
So as our reporter on the ground in the local area of Alabama,
in the land of meth and honey,
do you want to tell us a little bit about this story, Jim?
I've read a little bit about this. Haven't paid attention to it at all because I didn't really care. I did Google it before the show.
Well, this is international news. This has gone viral.
Yeah, right. So this is in Jasper, Alabama, which is about 90 miles or so from me, northwest Alabama. From me. And
so it's actually in the right spot. You don't want to do it like 30 minutes from your house. Those people have already seen you at the local Waffle House.
Right. I have never been to the Waffle House in Jasper, so no one can tell I was there.
Right.
But apparently the story is that one day it was gone, and then many swear words were spoken. It broke a censor button, and the whole thing disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't miss it. I just didn't care.
No, not you. Oh. How did the radio station not know that it had been off the air?
Well, that was the first question I asked, because I was like, what, you stole a 200-foot tower overnight? I mean, that's a big crew.
So I guess before we get too far into the speculation and the laughter and the hilarity as we normally do, we probably have to tell the official story, the alleged story as it happened. So it's an AM radio station that has an FM translator, and what this is an AM. We're gonna talk radio here for a minute.
What?
And it's an FCC licensing type situation where, as you all know, AM signals are really good at some times of the day and not so good at other times of the day. So an AM signal could travel worldwide all day long, or worldwide all night long and not during the day, or whatever the case may be. You know how HF type, AM type signals work. And these are pretty low down in the U.S. They're 570 to 1.8.
1690.
Yeah. And that's 570 kilohertz. So it's a pretty low signal.
Low frequency.
So there's that. And then because they were not able to get the coverage and not able to get the reliability, the FCC, the benevolent government organization that it is, gave them the ability to run what's called a translator, an FM translator device. So they can have their 200-watt station, and then they can also have their FM station. But in order for them to use this magical device to be an FM radio station, they had to keep their AM station alive and running. And if they didn't keep their AM station alive and running, then what's the benefit of the malevolent, government giving them this amazing power to do this thing that they could have just, applied for a license and kept up with the times and so on. They could have done it that way. So this radio station that apparently existed on AM had a radio tower, and they didn't find out that their station's tower and all of its transmitting equipment was gone until the landscape company showed up to bush hog and clean up the tower site and found no tower and no transmitter and apparently no evidence of any human life whatsoever being there. Oh, wait, sorry, that's off. We haven't gotten to the truth of the matter yet. So then the guy has now gone on national news outlets and requested funding through GoFundMe. So I have no more knowledge than that. That's the official story. And there was a tiny little hint of speculation.
Wouldn't you think that if they didn't have a tower for some amount of time, when they keyed down, things might have blowed up?
Well, so there's a couple of other things about that. So the first thing we want to do is we want everyone in the chat to speculate. This is the time to speculate. We talk about don't speculate when it comes to new radios. We want you to speculate. Let us know in the chat what's actually happened. I put a poll in there saying, do you actually think it got stolen?
Nice.
So let us know. He's in Nebraska, so
that's actually kind of a loaded question. Do you think it got stolen? Yes or no? Doesn't mean that it wasn't stolen by the person in question.
Well, okay.
Who thinks that it was stolen from himself?
Do you think it was stolen by the official story? In other words, someone came and just took it overnight and no one noticed until...
in the dead of the night.
And zero evidence of foul play whatsoever. Yeah. Other than the towers missing.
Well, I mean, you'd have to have heavy equipment to carry. I mean, at least a big truck and trailer.
You would leave some type of evidence that you were there yesterday.
Yeah. There's no way.
Put it. So the other rewinding a little bit about it. So with the AM, if you've got an AM station and that was your primary, station, you can put on an FM translator station at the same time that simulcasts the same thing but on FM.
Right.
But you can't take the AM off the air, right?
Right.
So I guess the first thing is what happens if something like this does happen and they get taken off the air? Are they trying to find an excuse with the FCC to say, because maybe they don't need the AM portion, it's costing them a lot of money to run and they want to get rid of it, and this is a convenient way to get rid of it? Is that a thing over there? Because I'm not unsure of what the rules are. Because the rules are over here that some AM radio stations are required to stay on the air. They have to have a minimum amount of AM stations on the air.
That's the rule over here, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's some others that don't.
They're supposed to keep their AM online in order to have this benefit of the FM. And you know how efficient the U.S. government is. They knew the split second that this AM station went off the air. And they actually called the station operator and said, excuse me, you are no longer compliant. You must shut your FM down or turn your AM back on.
So, but the other thing is, there's lots of FM only stations, right? They don't have AM stations.
Correct, because they paid for the licensing and they went through all of the blah, 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 blah. They went through the front door instead of through the back door.
Yeah. So if these guys lose, say, their AM station, is it feasible that they could then go to the FCC and say, hey, we lost all this gear and we don't want to start up the AM again because it's not worth our while. Can you make an exception for us? Would that be something that they're probably leaning towards?
You can always ask, and if you've ever gone to like the DMV or something, the answer is no, whether it's yes or not, because they just don't want to bother to check. So they could go ask. I'm sure the answer would be no.
Thor has an interesting comment.
He does, and we'll get to... I've just started a couple of them.
Oh, did I jump the shark already? Sorry.
No, that's okay. The Damned put in that it would take a crew of 15 plus and all sorts of vehicles. It depends.
If they were trying to recover the tower, if they were just trying to take it down and trash it, it would take mere minutes.
No, that's right.
And being in Alabama, a couple 6-packs and some Sawzalls, and I could see some hillbillies getting out there and I live
chopping
in Alabama, so calm down. But where'd Tio go?
No, he's there. He's just he's going laptop mobile for some reason.
But I mean, you drop the tower, it'd be a huge mess just to drop.
Well, there's a photo of the tower. This was apparently prior to the theft, and it was discovered missing at the start of this month, February 2nd. So you can see here the building, and you can see the tower in the background.
No, keep in mind it's already in great shape. I mean, look how well kept that is. They've trimmed the bushes, they've maintained the fence. There's no rust on the building, fresh coat of paint. I mean, they're doing a fantastic job of keeping this thing alive.
It's not really like looking at that tower. That is not a very big tower. Okay, like that's a small. Just looking at the scale of that, I can see some guy wires there. So to actually take it down wouldn't be that much. You'd cut these guy wires, and you would probably loosen the bolt or whatever is here at the bottom, and it would just fall down on itself.
Yeah, I mean, you take them down like you take down a tree. You just cut it and let it fall, and let nature take its course.
But I think going back to that earlier comment, it would take a fair few people to move this because this wouldn't be light. You'd have to then come in with trailers or a truck and load it all on and get rid of it all.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a job. So I don't believe that it could just disappear overnight without anyone even noticing at all.
There's no piece of this tower remaining on this site.
Do you reckon that's aluminum or steel?
That'd be steel. I don't think it'd be
lovely shade of
aluminium.
Rust.
Well, so now a few weeks ago, someone else, and there's a link to this in the description, went to the site to have a look. And if we have a look at that photo just there, this is the building. So you can see
it's the day or two after it happened. This is
after it was reported, yeah. And you can see here that there's the building, same building, and this this video was by William Collier, who uploaded this. And again, the link is below, so all credit to him. So just looking at those two, it's the same building, right? Now I'm not going to play the whole video because it's his video to show. But I'll just show an overview here in a second of what the site looks like.
Hayden has done
show the door, though. Show the door, though.
There's the door.
So remember, this place had been broken into overnight. The guy rushed out when the landscapers called, "My baby's gone. It's been destroyed." And he saw this structure. And when he was done looking inside, he carefully put that door back up as if it had fallen off of its hinges. Yeah. Like if that was me and I was running in to see if my baby had been taken and stolen, that door would be 3 feet away from the structure and out of my way. Nope.
Yeah. The other thing to notice too is if I just find the next screenshot to show an overview of the site, does this look like something where a tower has sorry, I'm jumping ahead. So this is what the general manager of the station was quoted as saying. He was quoted as saying that the theft was first discovered last week by a landscaping crew that regularly manages the area nearby the tower. Right?
They need to be fired. You need your money back.
Tell me, does this look like it has been regularly maintained?
Look at how recently they cut that grass.
Look how badly maintained this is. Bearing in mind, this video was only, I could tell you when it was uploaded. It was uploaded 12 days ago. So what was that, 14th of February? So even 2 weeks, that is not 2 weeks after someone goes and steals a tower. This is just...
There are no tire marks. There's no broken trees. There's no...
When was this?
You can see where the tower was.
Alleged theft?
Cigarette butts. There's
the start
nothing.
Of this month.
No beer cans.
On the 2nd of February.
I mean, I can tell you it's been raining a lot here this month. If they stole that thing anytime in the recent last 30, 40 days... there would be ruts all over the place.
So you're saying he'd actually need a recovery vehicle to get his trucker from being stuck in the mud.
I don't know the drainage, obviously where that place is at. But, I got parts of my yard that I can't let my kid walk in because she'll get swallowed up by the earth.
Now, It says here in this other article that the station filed a request to continue broadcasting on its FM translator, but on Thursday it was denied, so they turned its FM translator off. So they asked for that. Now, the other thing that I think you mentioned earlier, Tio, was that because of the amount of news coverage that this has got, there is, now bearing in mind, I think this article is quite old now, or a few weeks old. As of Friday afternoon, the GoFundMe has raised about $1,400. That's very interesting that looking at what the site looks like and when it was allegedly stolen. And I heard that apparently the only reason that nobody reported it as stolen was because there was only one little old lady who listened to the AM station or AM side of things. And usually she rings up if there's a problem, but she didn't ring up this time. That's very convenient, isn't it?
Gladys must have been busy.
Right.
It all just reeks of there's something a bit fishy going on. It makes for a good story, though, doesn't it? What was that, Jim? I missed that.
Nothing.
Was that bullshit?
Right.
Exactly right.
So Ryan's got a good question here. Why not insurance? It is my understanding that these things are not insurable in the first place. No insurance on the tower itself. It's just not. Is what I was told. I don't have anything.
I don't know.
There's the tower location, by the way.
Look
where
at the
it was.
rust on that thing.
But also, look, was it literally sitting on that pin? Or was it how was it mounted?
So I have seen towers that have a single pin base, and then they expand out to 3, and then it's guide. Yeah, so you could actually tilt it over.
And I think it's designed. I think that's a feature for weather
because you feed
resilience.
You feed the tower, don't you? Yeah.
To drop or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, so the other thing too is that the whole tower would be, because it's AM, the whole tower would effectively be the antenna loaded from the bottom to the base.
Yeah, so there's no coax running up this tower that's full of copper that's worth taking to a scrapyard either.
No. I mean, even look at this, even that most recent looking photo, look at all of the landscaping crew still not doing a very good job inside the compound here. Look how
want my money
badly
back
overrun that is. Oh, yeah.
I don't see any power lines running to that either. In that picture,
no. So I've got the Google Street View shots.
So the other thing which I heard was that they claim and they have proof that it was running up until the day before it was taken, because they had utility bills showing the power usage on the site, but it's obvious that it hasn't been running for quite a long time there, surely.
In that video, they show you the meter base that the electric company would have been using to do that charge, that bill, and that meter base is, gone. First off, the glass meter itself is gone, and second, it's been gone for a very, very long time.
Well, they
could have stolen the meter base too, Steve. I mean,
as well.
Oh, that's nasty.
But
now, remember, that was an active radio station that somebody actually cared about. They cared enough to visit on a routine basis, not just when the landscapers called and said, "Hey, bro, it's gone."
Yeah. You were going to show the Street View.
It's still there, yeah.
Screenshot.
Put it up?
Yeah, do you want to put it up?
Yeah, okay. So our correspondent from Hawaii, KH6WI, has shown us this, and you can I hope you can see this on the live stream. This tower on the left is the tower that's missing, and this tower on the right is the tower that is in existence. And let's take a look at January 2024, and see if I can zoom in on that at all. Yep, so it's going to be hard to see, but there's only one tower in January 2024. Let's go back to March of 2023. Let's zoom in on that. Hey, look, in March of 2023, almost a year ago, there's only one tower there. Let's go to October of 2022.
Well, that is really hard to see.
There's 2 towers. You can kind of see the 2 vertical lines. Google doesn't let you zoom in anymore, and I'll drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, could someone give us the coordinates so I can bring it up on Google Earth so we can have a look at a satellite view as well?
Yeah, it is. The coordinates are embedded in the link, so you can read them right out of there instead of me redoing it. Let's go back to the stream. No, I can't. I'm not in that part of the stream.
So the poll results at the moment are showing that 29% people believe that it was stolen like overnight, as we mentioned earlier. 50% say no and 21% unsure. So thank you for the Google.
So that's October 2022 that you see that. And if we go to March 2023, which is a year ago, the tower's already gone. So that tower that was stolen, I mean, you can kind of see a thin gray line there. That tower that was stolen this month was also stolen last March. So, I mean, they should be really familiar with filing police reports and, you know.
So, okay, so I've brought up Street View. Not Street View, sorry. I've brought up Google Earth. Here we go. So how... Where are we? So that's on the... You've given me the highway there.
Yeah, you got a...
Where's the... Oh, is this it?
Yep.
Yes, that's it.
Right on it.
Okay, so...
I see a tower there.
Yeah, so there's the tower. There we go. I like to always move the way that the satellite was moving because it seems a lot easier. So you could see the shadow. The tower's there. When was this? This was...
95?
The date range. This only goes back to 2022. Okay, so I can't go back. I can't go forward or back any further.
Right.
But that's definitely the site.
And it's actually somewhat maintained. I mean, they still didn't cut the grass inside the fence.
Is that the other one next to it?
No, I think that they're probably much farther apart, and it's a optical illusion with the with the way the Google car saw it.
Yep. There isn't any other.
That's probably a guy wire.
There's only Google Street View. We don't have any other way of looking, do we? So I'm just looking in March 2023. It's hard to tell.
Well, you can see just the one.
Let me share this.
You're right, though, because that's October 2022. That's 100%. There's two there.
Two, yep.
And then March 2023, one. And then January 2024, one.
Yep.
So,
So even if it was stolen in February of 2024, it was also stolen in January of 2024.
All right, now where is this? Because I wanted to see it, if we could find it overhead on Google Maps. This may be more current. I don't know.
So
do you have
look
Apple
at the
Maps?
link
Apple Maps
in
might
the
also
chat,
show.
Jim, you can see the GPS coordinates. That'll get you pretty close.
Yeah, the highway.
Gets me out to the highway.
Well, that was it in that photo.
Yeah, I know. And then we're going this way.
Yeah. Keep going right there, right under your green mouse pointer.
Right there. There we go.
Now, is the highway the closest road that you can get to there?
So
let's find out.
SFJF26 has a interesting spin on the conspiracy theory. It could be as the Google car is moving, it's taking multiple photos as it's going, and it could have been the same actual tower. But the video that I saw had identified that as a tower belonging to a different radio. It had shared
you
its
can
call
see.
sign.
This is as far as I can get in with Google, but you can see a shadow right here. But it doesn't say when this picture was taken. We can rotate the angle around. Oops.
I'm just trying from another road from a different angle, but no,
we can try that. Hang on. Let's see. If we go over here.
Yeah, if you look at the photo, you can see
that's the road we're on. There we
moving.
go. Right there.
SFJF26, if you look at the photo, you can see the wavy hills of the landscape. And it's definitely two towers.
Except there's trees in the way.
I'm trying to find. So there's the treatment plant. Where's the tower itself? I've lost it again. In relation to where the treatment plant is. Help me out here, Steve. Let me just share my. So here's the treatment plant. Where was the tower? I zoomed in on it easily on Google Earth. It's not that far. It's in here somewhere. Where has it gone?
23rd Street area?
Okay, Plant Road. Hang on, you're close. So it's
It's right in the mess between the treatment plant and the city.
You're not there. Go down to where it says Plant Road. Yep. And then it's going to be, let me get the orientation. So it's going to be toward the...
Thanks, Ryan.
What looks like civilization.
Don't worry. So they've stolen it and we've lost it as well on Google.
Okay, wait, stop. It's right there on your screen.
There it is.
So waste treatment plant at the bottom for reference, go 1 inch to the left, and then go up that road. There it is. There you go.
Here. Yep. So what I wanted to do is, so this looks relatively clear.
Trees are in the way.
Is there?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's a hill. Road. And that's an old photo anyway. That's not going to show anything. Is there anywhere up here, maybe? The other way? Maybe here? Oh, here we go.
There we go. I see one tower.
So that is March. That's not right, is it? March 2014.
Yep. So.
Well, they might have only had one tower up there though, back then.
It could be the tower we're supposed to be looking for. Yeah.
Let's go maybe to another, because the thing with Google is they changed the. Well, that's not going to show us anything. They change the dates depending on what road they're on. If they're on a main road, they'll regularly go back and forth on it.
So Eric's bringing up the Wayback Machine. Eric, according to most official government records, the Wayback Machine is not to be trusted.
Okay, so that's June 2022. Is that the tower? Yeah. I can only see one.
Yeah, that's all I see.
And that's 2 years ago, though. So,
Yeah.
45 thinks one of the landscapers is going to squeal sooner or later.
Well, so to be honest with you, the landscaper's story is not untrue. They did show up to the scene. There was no tower there.
That was probably sent there on purpose. They're the cover. They were there to report the crime.
Yep.
Yeah.
Down where the Hardy Hams.
But look, someone's actually gone and put it. Oh, hang on. No, well, that's different. Oh no, that's the actual station. So there's the station. Well, that's interesting.
Well, you know how AM stations work. That's not impossible for them to broadcast to.
I know, but there's another tower here. So
that's probably the second tower you're seeing.
The FM one
from that road view. That we saw.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, and that's a different site.
That one looks like it actually has had landscaping done.
Oh no, it's all right. That's a completely different AM station.
That's WIXI.
Yeah. Whereas this one here is further just up the road. What's this that runs next to it? Is that a railway line?
Railroad track.
Get Frank out there.
He'll be on it. Well, that's the only other street that I can see that gets so close. But again, it's just too old a photo.
Do a 180 at that site? Because it is on the other direction. Are you looking in the right direction, or is it behind you?
I'm not. No, it's behind me.
It's allegedly behind you.
Yeah. So, very, very interesting. So yeah, some of the speculation in the chat is that it's also feasible that it had been taken down by some kids or someone that decided that they wanted to have a bit of fun one weekend, went and dropped it. No one noticed it whatsoever. The site was in such a bad state. Someone came along, realised, oh, hey, there's a free tower here, and decided to drive off with it. Mm-hmm. And then the landscapers come along. But I think the whole thing, though, is a bit of a stretch to say that it all happened, in the space of a few days. So I don't think
so.
If
you
happened.
Go to 2910 Corona Avenue,
not the best street to live on.
That
do you want to share
apparently
your screen?
Yeah, we can do that. I can do that. Let's see.
Now, speaking of which, too, so I've been, as some would know on my channel, I've been the victim of equipment being stolen at a radio site. And I can tell you now that we knew within about, and this is an amateur radio, okay? We knew because we had monitoring and we had alarms at the site, which is something that they would have at this AM transmitter site. They would have the building alarmed. We knew within about 30 minutes that something was wrong because things started to go offline, and we saw alarms and we saw video images and being sent through to our phones. So it's something that you would notice. You would notice if it happened.
And this guy didn't say our monitoring system went off 15 minutes ago and then the landscapers arrived. He said the landscapers were the first people to tell us. That was their monitoring system, was the annual landscape maintenance.
Well, that's what I was getting at earlier. Is like, so they're transmitting thousands of watts on AM and with no antenna connected?
He said his transmitter was also stolen. So somebody walked up to the scene of an AM transmitter, got into the near field of the station, removed the transmitter itself while it was operating, didn't die, dropped a tower without leaving a single, burnout mark or mud rut, didn't trample any nature, didn't trample any grass, didn't, when the tower fell, it didn't hit a tree on the way down. They carefully buried all the guy lines, routed them in through the fence underneath of dead trees that had been dead for a while, and then left without a trace. These guys were good.
That's as far as Google Maps will take us, but this is apparently the road. Somebody posted this in the chat. Corona Avenue, but obviously it's
what's the date range on that though? That's 2014 though, isn't it?
2014.
What are the other dates that are available? I don't think there'd be anything newer than that.
Yeah, probably not.
So there's a couple of theories is that they just didn't want the AM anymore and it was costing them too much. And they just decided to drop it and hope that if it had been off the air long enough that they could get away with it.
Yeah.
But our friend Eric says that, saying about dropping it down, insurance fraud, and then hoping it doesn't go viral on the internet. But the problem is that the general manager didn't keep silent. He went and started doing interviews with everybody.
The Streisand
doing
effect.
all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, hold on. I forgot he was the general manager. You all know that managers don't know anything.
Oh, right. Oh, dear.
So if you were to take down a tower like that with the intent, let's assume it's a very good, high quality working tower that you want to save, take somewhere else, and put up again and use again. Let's talk about how difficult that would be. Because it would not be easy.
I mean, you can't just drop it, or you're going to break something if you just drop it.
No, you have to get a crane and you have to lower it down piece by piece.
Or you have to be foolish enough to climb it and then do it piece by piece.
So apparently, about 6 months ago, a nearby radio station had their aircon unit, copper pipes, and other materials stolen. So I'm assuming that was that WIXI station because that's probably the closest we could see. He says, don't know if it was connected, but it says they might have got a quick buck from selling the metal. Well, first of all, it's stainless. It's steel. You're not really going to get a lot for that, surely. But then also, he remains hopeful that video surveillance from the nearby poultry plant or witnesses employed at the plant can help piece together who stole the station's tower. Why didn't you have video on your own site? You should have had video at your own transmitter site.
Right.
I find that hard to believe. If you've spent thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this thing on the air, you want to protect it if someone that you don't want is there. And it should have been cameras inside the building as well. So when they went in and stole the gear, that you got them and then uploaded to the cloud and had a picture of them. So that just doesn't make sense either. I mean, I get it that some people probably can't afford that sort of thing, but you'd think that a radio station that seems to be as big as this would have the basics put in place. Yeah, so that video is in the description. Yeah, so that's the video in the description if you want to check that out.
Jeff agrees. Jeff is on team untrue.
Jonathan might also have it too. They probably thought the FCC would be just like, just keep going with the FM because
that's how government works, folks. Yep.
Right.
And AM, like that transmitter, I don't know how many watts. Someone can probably know in the chat how many watts it was transmitting, but it probably would be a lot of money to keep that on the air. Like if that was running, say, I'm just going to pick a number out of the hat. Say it was running 1,000 watts all the time, 24/7. That's a big power bill that they could potentially save on if there's only one or two listeners, right?
And the radio station's only going to make money off of ads, and they're only going to sell ads if they have a subscriber base, a listener base.
Right. They did have ads. The FM translator. They had FM listeners.
But I thought the FM translator only came into play after the AM tower was stolen, so they could keep going.
No, the FM translator's been in play for over at least a decade, is my guess. But it's not something that they did like yesterday when the AM went off. It's something that the FCC put in place a long time ago to keep. You know how the government likes to prop up dying things,
right?
David says that they would need a big crane to lower it safely. That would be if it was actually removed properly. I mean, nothing really stops anyone from just loosening off things, even just loosening off things, cutting a few guy wires and just waiting for the wind to come along.
Yeah, I mean, and then the next wind that comes along. Fall. Yep. But that's if the tower is only valuable as scrap metal, and again, you'd have to then clean up all that mess that you just dropped on the ground. So 200 feet of. So you're bringing a truck to get mangled tower pieces. They're not going to stack neatly on a trailer. So it's going to be more than one trailer, more than one run, or it's going to be absolutely ghetto fabulous going down the highway.
Well.
I mean,
Jonathan saying
I don't live in Alabama, so I can say
it. Jonathan saying it'd be the same as a normal house power bill. Not necessarily, because if it's 1,000 watts and you're running 1,000, I'm saying if it's 100% efficient, which it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
You'd be drawing more than 1,000 watts worth of AC power. It's going to be
all day long,
all day long, 24/7. That's 24,000 watts or 24 kilowatts per day, and that adds up.
6 to 8 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah, and I don't draw 24 kilowatts. I don't think per month. I think I do that maybe.
Watt, 1,000 watt.
That's
AM
just a conservative estimate.
Is nothing at all.
No.
Usually they're 50,000 watts to 1,000,000 watts.
Yeah. Yeah. Say that that's at 50%, efficiency as well. So you double the amount of AC power that you're drawing, and you only get half as much RF power out. As an example.
It was 1,000 watt station, but that's still a hefty bill.
Yeah.
That's what Chris is saying.
Yep. I'll tell you what, it's just on a side note. So one of our repeaters is located at a broadcasting station location, and I said to them when we were negotiating the lease, I said, what do you want to do for power? Is power a concern? And they're like, we've got several 200 kilowatt stations here, 200 kilowatt transmitters all running. You're putting your little flea-powered 50-watt transmitter that only runs like an hour transmitting a day, we're not going to notice it at all on the power bill. Exactly. Randall's got it. Stealing towers is killing AM radio. As if AM radio wasn't already dead. Although AM radio is very, very handy in emergency situations, and I think that's one of the reasons why the rule exists to keep the AM station on the air and not let everyone go to FM is for that emergency purpose.
Right. And that's and Tracy made kind of the same comment I said earlier. There's no power going to that building. There's no lines going to that building that you can see at all. I can't imagine they'd run them underground the whole way, but maybe they would. But you don't see any phone lines. You don't see any power lines. There's not a security light outside the building. Yeah, it's total bullshit. That thing hasn't been active in a while.
Right. And I realize that we're just, hamming math on a live stream here, but you've got more than just the transmitter. You're also running the air conditioning. You're running some lights. You've got some backup batteries in there. Hopefully you've got you've got all kinds of monitoring equipment.
10 cents a kilowatt hour. Gee,
yeah, that's probably that's probably on the high side. It's probably more on like the high 6 to 8. Side? Yes.
Gee, we're getting conned out of our price. We
invented electricity. We give it away.
Mate, we pay 30 cents a kilowatt hour. It's
Holy
ridiculous.
crap.
I can't imagine the building didn't have an AC unit.
Yeah, they had to have AC in that building because and that thing would be 150, 200 degrees during the summertime.
Yeah, so 1,000 watts would be just the transmitter, but then you add in the AC and everything else, and it's.
But I mean, even using Dell's number of 10 cents a kilowatt hour, which is probably close. I mean, I don't know, it may be a little high, but a couple $3 a day times 30 days a month, so $100 just for the transmitter, plus the air conditioner. It's not going to be that much electricity.
So Raymond's asking about security fence. There actually was a security fence that had been overgrown. You can see it in the photo there that Hayden put on the screen. But the guy wires themselves are usually not inside of a security area. You can walk right up to the anchor points for the guy wires on most tower transmitting sites. Now, the newer ones, the more expensive, the more commercially viable ones are going to have fence around the base of each of the guy wire anchor points as well.
Right. If you go look at a cell site tower, it's pretty well hardened as much as they can.
4 fences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that these guys do is they do... they've got the measuring wheel here. So they actually measure out from where the tower is to see how far 200 feet is, to see the radius of where it would have fallen. And if you actually go and go and have a look at the video in the chat. But it doesn't look like
there's a scene where he's all the way out at the end of 200 feet, and his brother is back at the tower shack.
Yeah, you would expect that it would be. There would be some sort of evidence that you've got a tower fallen in even the grass. Because the grass is long, you'd expect the grass to be, pushed down where the tower had actually fallen into it.
Right.
This smells.
So, it does. It definitely does.
And this is purely speculation. We're not lawyers. We're not investigative journalists. We're just hams having fun.
Yeah.
We're three nerds on the internet.
Now this is the other thing that I'm not entirely sure about, but those in the chat can say, was this a commercial radio station or was it a community radio station? Because then things change a little bit as far as how much money someone's got.
What was the call sign on this, Hayden?
WJLX.
WJLX. Because if you're a commercial radio station, something like this would be easy to fix, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a community radio station with not a lot of money, which a few people are saying commercial, it kind of would make sense that you would need, fundraising and all this sort of stuff to be able to fix it up. So. Now these guys,
oldies music format. Oh wow, okay, that's why.
So Jasper has a population of 14,000 people, and it's fairly close to Birmingham, which is hundreds of thousands. Probably close to 1 million, maybe. I don't know.
Is there any way that the FCC could tell when it went off air? Does the carrier go out even? It would just disappear. But the FCC are not monitoring every AM radio station 24/7. Right. They don't really care, to be quite honest.
Okay, well, that's not much else there.
Here's another screen grab from that video. There's tire marks as well, which kind of look pretty fresh.
That could be the truck that went in there and took the pictures, the video.
Yeah, but you would see, again, it's going to take more than one truck and trailer to get a
tower. That's a single pickup truck.
Yeah, if they were taking a 200-foot tower for real, they would have, like 4 trips at a minimum.
Well, even if they did it in one trip, that is one set of tire tracks. You ain't doing this in a pickup truck. You're going to have to have something with the trailer.
Well, you don't. The other side.
I can't believe they went in and came out with the same set of track. Right? Yeah, that's. And
these guys. So the guys that did the video walked in, by the way. So.
Okay.
So you can see here, like these look fresh. These actually do look fresh. But again, I think the whole, talking about that the tower site was completely, operational and had been, running basically in good condition. If you actually look at it, it's It looks like they've found something out in the middle of Russia, basically, which has been left neglected for 50 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the commercial side of stuff is quite surprising. So Rob says most electricity meters are online. Surely the electricity bill will show you. That's what they say happened. But as we mentioned, somewhere in this video, and I can't find it, it's somewhere in the video, they showed the meter where it's not, the meter just does not look like it's been had anything connected for quite a while, right, Tio?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm trying to look up some more information on the station's license. They have a 1,000 watt unlimited license, which means
day and night
minimum. Well, at its minimum, it would be a 1,000 watt transmitter. And it looks like they had a transmitter that they had in 1965, which, as you can imagine, would not have been a tiny thing.
No, that would have been heavy, very heavy.
Yeah, it kind of just seems like it's completely bogus, doesn't it? So
yeah.
But one thing which is interesting is I wonder if I can find their GoFundMe.
I found it for you. I had it up on the
you?
screen.
Yeah.
Yes, champ. I had it up there.
You champed me.
Yes, I did.
He's been using that a lot lately, Hayden.
No, you didn't have it up on the screen. You were screen sharing, but you didn't have it.
It had a link to it just a damn minute, Admiral.
Now I'm not. We're not promoting this to donate towards it. I mean, you can do it if you want to, but they've raised $20,000, which is, I guess if that was the goal of the entire story was to raise money for, redoing the transmitter side or something, then sure. But yeah, it seems pretty interesting, doesn't it?
368 donations so far, and they've raised a third of their goal.
If this was going to be $20,000, I'm sorry, guys. If this was my radio station and I was making any amount of money out of it that made it worth keeping it on the air and dealing with the government, I would certainly have some way of monitoring it, and I'd have some type of backup plan in place in case the station went off the air. So I would have known that it went off the air, and because it has an FM translator and can continue to broadcast on FM, I would have set up like a mini AM station. I mean, even if you got like an ICOM 7300 and, clipped the resistor on the inside to broadcast 1 watt of AM to the translator, to translate it to FM, to broadcast 250 watts of FM to the town, I'd be scrambling. I'd be going down to HRO and getting a soldering iron,
Well, see, this is interesting, John, because there's a lot of this, I think, that happens, especially around GoFundMes. The first thing is you've got to claim that it didn't happen. And no one can actually claim that it didn't happen, even though the evidence points that it doesn't look like it was that way. The obvious thing is that the tower's not there. So one way or another, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that the radio station would go in and remove the tower and then say, "Hey, it was stolen and we need money to replace it." I mean, that and then not only that, and then go on to national news networks and talk about it. It's kind of...
Son, you can't fix stupid. I mean, you can't.
They
reproduce quickly. Can you go back to the picture of the building that we were looking at? Because somebody just said, yeah. Does the meter box show on there at all?
It shows in the video. It shows in the
video.
The video.
Can we find it in the video?
I was trying to find it, but Tio, you can probably find it a bit quicker than me.
Yeah, let me scrub through.
But Chris, no, the FM did not go off. The FM was fine because that's at a different site. And 45 Auto, it is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so probably no one would have noticed unless you were looking at it. The other thing too is I don't know about you, but as a ham radio operator, I keep an eye on, well, not keep an eye on, but I see towers in my area and I know which ones are up and which new ones go up and which new antennas go up. Surely someone would have noticed if it had been taken previously they would have noticed that tower had disappeared.
So there's the electric meter. You can see what one of the commenters, I forget who it was that asked the question, but
DIY electronics.
The primary feed would come in through the top. That's wholesale gone and gone a long time ago. Then the meter base, and then what's feeding the building goes down and underneath.
Yep. There ain't been no power at that building in forever.
That's not 2 weeks old.
No, and when the power company pulls a meter, see, we would, a lot of times during a structure fire, we would go ahead and pull the meter on the house so we could de-energize the house. Water, electricity, bad, right, for firemen. And I can tell you that when they pull a meter, they're going to put a cover over it, and because it's still hot, those big contacts inside are still energized from.
Yeah, you just go up and lick them.
From the line.
Is it working?
Right. Well, that's how we tested the probies. Hey,
that would blow you across the room.
Power. Yeah, it'd light your ass right on fire. And so yeah, that box ain't had juice in it in forever. Look how corroded that crap looks.
Do you have residual current devices, RCDs, over there? Do you have those in your power meters? I didn't think so.
I don't know.
I know of.
I thought they were an Australian thing. Potentially.
It's not a household word around here, no.
Right.
So we have installed here. Not that you would do it in. I mean, they might be commercial grade ones, but RCDs are basically, if they detect a current between active and ground, then that's more than 30 milliamps, 20 milliamps, 20 milliamps. So just before it can actually kill you, it will trip the breaker automatically.
Oh, that's a GFCI.
Oh, okay. You call it something else.
Ground fault interrupter.
Yeah, okay.
GFCI, GFCI. Yeah, we're required
so when
to
you
have
get
those
your
in wet spots. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think they're standard now in all houses pretty much. So when someone goes and when your probie goes and touches as long as he touches down down from that connection from those
right,
then he'll be okay, I suppose. But
so you're putting that? You guys put that on the whole house in Australia? Is that you're doing one at the meter box?
on every circuit,
on every outlet? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So every circuit
we do that
runs
here.
all the outlets. Yeah, I think it's also on lighting as well. Just go back to that photo though, that you had up. If this has been done 12 days ago, and this was 2 weeks after the alleged theft, and your wiring looked like that, you probably shouldn't be running an AM transmitter anyway.
Yeah, there's no way.
Because even if the thieves came in and they ripped off the covers and everything like that, there is no way you would get that much corrosion in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the blast holes in the door next to it.
That meter hasn't had wiring or anything connected to it in forever. And somebody may say, and I haven't been reading all the chat, but they might have cut the feed line to get the copper. Well, they're only going to cut it once. They're only going to cut it once, because then wires coming in at the top of that meter box is where the hot is, like T.O. was saying. So, yeah, there's no way. That box hasn't had electricity in it forever. There's no feed lines. And in all these pictures, I haven't seen, typically in a site like that, it's going to be an overhead line off of a pole or a transformer. They're not going to dig up and bury it underground. And there's nothing like that. So that thing, there hadn't been electricity at that site in a while.
Well, so this is the road in. Can you see any utility poles or anything like that?
Not anymore. Nope.
I would assume that they would come in this way.
Yeah.
Follow the road. I mean, yeah, it is completely possible that it is underground. I mean, I don't know about over there, but over here, underground power is pretty prevalent all over the place.
So Thor's asking a good question, but I think that the answer to this is somebody did a controlled demolition and cleanup of this a long time ago, at least a year ago.
And just left the hut there.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you if somebody was stealing this as an unprofessional, they would have left probably half the tower there, because that's a lot of work, and nobody's got that kind of effort to steal that for $200
it is probably 180 to 200 miles inland from the Gulf of Mexico. It's north of me, and I'm 160 miles. And
so
angular, blah blah. But
try the rail line. See if the power came from the rail line direction instead.
Tornadoes are a possibility, but
even have a look here. Like, look at the. Never mind about the door and everything, but even the lighting here. So this is
busted.
Just busted. This here cable in here, and this has been busted for a while. Like, this is, yeah.
Damn, you know what I think I might do is I might take off work tomorrow and drive up there.
Oh, do it. Do a video.
There'll be a traffic jam. Everybody else wanting to get on site.
Jim live on location.
If they got cell signal, I could live stream it. We could do some detectiving. Of course, it'll be the middle of the night for you.
They'll probably get you. You'll probably get into trouble because they'll say that you're trespassing on private property or something.
Right.
Which technically, it's probably. I mean, I don't know what the rules are over there, but it's probably not really unless you're inside the actual compound itself. But it depends on who owns the land. But see, like even this guy, here's another quote.
Jesse.
That's where the transmitter was stolen from, Jesse. Remember, they had an operating AM transmitter in that. I mean, only 1,000 watts, but apparently rain doesn't affect 1,000 watt
that's
AM
hysterical. A helicopter grabbed the tower.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you can use a helicopter to install and I guess theoretically remove a tower. But really, I mean, if you've got, it's just...
I'm going to risk my pilot's license and $5,000 worth of helicopter time to recover $200 worth of scrap metal.
And not to mention how dangerous it is, because if that thing, I mean, it
was in theory live and transmitting while they clamped onto it.
Besides that, just clamping a 200-foot tower on the bottom of your helicopter is going to, I mean, unless you're flying in a Chinook, a small helicopter's not going to be able to pick that thing up and fly with it very easily.
If it's steel, definitely.
Nobody noticed.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, look, Abe, Mabel, there's a flying antenna tower right up there.
Yeah. Other Richard was a Chinese spy balloon.
Right.
So and this is the other thing, and this is what I think it all comes down to, is that, here we go, someone mentioned it earlier, for the small radio station, the theft has had a significant, blah, 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 not insured, replacing the tower could cost the station anywhere between 100 to 150 grand, which is more money than we have. So, first of all, if you've got uninsured equipment, you would have some way of protecting that. Now, when my gear was stolen, I didn't raise a GoFundMe or anything like that. I just went in and just replaced it. And I lost, it was probably a couple of $1,000s worth of stuff, I think, when it was taken. And the thing, though, that we did have is we had footage of who it was, and the police went and found them the next day. Now, nothing really happened to them as far as most of them are concerned. But I got nothing back. There was nothing recovered. They didn't find any of my gear. And what I think happened was they stole it. They realised it was worthless to them because it was. It was all stuff that, when I say it was worth a couple of $1,000s, it was stuff that you can't really replace because it had just been stuff that you've accumulated over time, right? Repeated gear. And to replace it, you'd have to buy new stuff to replace it with. And I think that they saw it. They stole a duplex of cans, which aluminium. It's completely worthless, not even copper. And they've just turfed it and thrown it into the bush somewhere. I think. Yeah.
It takes more money in gas than you'll get back hauling it to the nearest fence, who wouldn't know what to do with it anyway.
Yeah, and the fence isn't going to buy that. What the hell would he do with it?
No, so
you can't take it down to the aluminum can recycler either. I mean, yes, it's aluminum cans. It's not those kind of aluminum cans.
And when they broke into ours, they climbed over the barbed wire fence. So they got over that. They didn't take the fence down. So bearing in mind that with this one, the fence is already down. It's already open and unsecured that way. No cameras, no monitoring, nothing. It all reeks of. Well, that was all a bit convenient, wasn't it? So, yes, it's a bit stinky.
I think this guy made this crap up.
Yeah,
they had something else happen, or maybe the FCC was getting onto them about you're not broadcasting in AM and you're supposed to be, And so he developed this story. I mean, this is all supposition,
yeah.
Wild speculation.
Yep. And also
it was
start up the GoFundMe, and then they could say,
"Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Here comes the money. Money, money."
And I want to start a GoFundMe because if I go up there, I do need bail money potentially. So.
Well, I'm going to start a GoFundMe because this has triggered my sensitivities and my feelings are hurt, and I need remuneration.
Right.
Well, see, that's it. So there's a lot of there's a lot of broadcasting stations here. I don't know about over there, but broadcasting stations here that are plots of land that are either bought or leased from the state. So the state actually owned the land around it, and they sublease or they lease a small plot of land on that. Usually it's on a hilltop or something like that, right? So to get to the site is perfectly fine because it's public land, so you can go to there as long as there's no private property that you have to go over. Otherwise, then you are trespassing. But a lot of these sites you can get to, which is fine, and then you just can't go inside the actual plot that they've got, which is usually a fence around it.
Yeah, the Verizon tower that's right down the road from me.
That went off on Thursday, didn't it?
That was AT&T.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, AT&T, sorry.
That was a FUBAR. That was a snafu.
Yeah.
It was a CF.
Some tech tripped over something in the server room or said, "Hey, what's this? Why? I don't know." Just
it was planned maintenance, Jim. They just screwed it up.
Whatever.
So the same thing happened
not on
here.
AT&T, so it didn't bother me at all.
So the same thing here happened to a major carrier called Optus Mobile. It was only a couple of months ago as well, and they went completely off air as well across the whole country for several hours, and businesses couldn't run. They lost money and everything. So it's interesting that with these, today we've got these modern mobile networks that are robust and that they don't go off the air and there's no problems. It only takes one software update, one fault, one plug pulled out, and all of a sudden,
yep. And they've been shutting ham clubs out of emergency support for years now.
Hayden, are you saying that one unemployed engineer is probably the cause of this?
Well, he's recently unemployed.
I don't know if he was unemployed at the
recently unemployed engineer at AT&T.
I don't know if he was unemployed at the time, but the official cause of the one that happened here with Optus was their parent company is located in Singapore, and someone did a software update which affected the entire network, including Optus's network, and bricked a whole bunch of devices.
See, now, this probably got caned for that.
No, you know Singapore. It was funny that. So what happened was the problem was it affected all these devices. So Optus had to send out their techs to all of the sites to fix all of these problems. The problem was all the techs had mobile phones, were on their own carrier, so their mobile phones didn't work, so they couldn't communicate back to the head office. They couldn't get files. They couldn't get all of the information that they needed to fix it. So they had to provision SIM cards with a rival, the biggest telco in Australia, Telstra, so that they could communicate. And then they went to the sites to update them.
Can you just see that conversation? The boss has given some guy the company credit card. Run your ass over to the Telstra store and get us about 30 SIM cards now.
No, that's 100% what would have happened.
I can see it.
Now, theoretically, what they should have done was they should have given the techs, told them to all get their amateur radio license, all jump on HF, and they could have communicated freely.
Right.
Right. Dear. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
And then, of course, other carriers that use them as their main network would have also gone down.
I saw several reports that said, so I'm on Verizon, zero problems. My boss is on AT&T. I hadn't had any problems at this time. That's correct. My boss was on AT&T, and so I got called into his office that morning because his phone didn't work. You need to fix the Wi-Fi. The phone's not working. Dude, it's because all of AT&T is hammered right now, at least in this area. He was just like, well, can you call him? It's like, are you? Yeah, I'll call him and tell him you're unhappy and they'll not care.
They'll fix
at
it.
all.
They'll get right on it.
Get right on that. No, boss, there's about several 100,000 people that don't have a cell phone right now. And if you're on an MVNO, mobile virtual network operator, that lights off of AT&T, I know you would have been affected too. So like Boost and I don't know, some of the other Mint and Cricket.
You know a lot.
Chuck probably did not have cell phone service because he's on Cricket. The cell service for old people.
Yeah, Wayne, it was localized, but it was not a 100% outage.
Do you have like Walmart Mobile or something like that? Do you have those random ones which are just like supermarkets? And
they run off of Verizon and or AT&T, as far as I know. They may be T-Mo MVNOs too. I don't know.
Because when I came over, we had two services. One was on T-Mobile and the other one was on AT&T, just so that we had because we didn't know what the coverage was like. We heard AT&T was quicker, but less coverage unless you're in the city. And then T-Mobile, but both of them are really good.
Yeah, the AT&T first responder network was jacked up, which is basically just AT&T with priority coverage for identified devices, kind of thing. And it was a hot mess.
Yep.
Straight Talk, that's the one at Walmart.
Cellular one. Bell Atlantic Mobile.
Bell Atlantic, yeah.
All the dead carriers. The fallen flags of cellular phones.
This was the other problem that they had when ours went down was that, so you call 911 there.
Outage.
We call 000. And the problem is that the network thought that it was online. So you could dial numbers, but it just wouldn't route them properly. And what normally happens is if you have no coverage at all with your provider, so say you're on Verizon and you don't have any coverage with them, if you ring 911, it'll go and route through the other phone carrier that gives you service, right? Somebody. The problem is that here, the network was still up and everyone was still getting service. So it appeared like everyone still had service. So what would happen is it would just fail and it wouldn't fail over to the next carrier. It just wouldn't go through. So people were ringing 000 to try and get emergency services and they couldn't because it just wouldn't route through and just kept failing. So that's the big problem. Not some grandma who's trying to ring up, ordering groceries to be delivered. It's the problems with emergency services when they get in trouble.
Now, a certain primate thinks it was a false flag operation to test a cyber response of a coordinated tier level opponent attack.
Can we talk about conspiracy theories on this show?
I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm not advocating it one way or the other.
All good things happen during planned maintenance.
Right.
Oh dear. Very good. Oh, you got visitors in your stream, Tio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. All right. Well, I think we've busted a few theories and a few stories. So
made a few of our own that need to be busted too.
Right.
What?
We have a few of our own that need to be busted now as well.
Oh yeah. So I'm just seeing if there's been any sort of news over the last few days. There hasn't been any update on that 200-foot tower. So
I just Googled it before the show because he's gone.
No, he's gone. He's gone mobile again. He's moving.
He's gone walkabout.
He has gone walkabout.
Have you made a decision about May?
About Dayton?
Yes.
No. Well, sorry. I have made a decision in that I would like to come, but
that's not really a decision.
No, it's not.
We need to talk to his significant other.
No, I have. I definitely
we need to talk to her.
Oh, right. Who's we? You?
We need to tell Crystal these are the droids you're looking for.
Right.
Well, I think that the highlight for you two guys was the drive back on, I think it was Saturday from Hamvention. You two learnt a lot about our culture, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
None of it was good, but you learnt about it. So obviously I've spoken before. The problem is that because we have to go via the mainland Australia, it's a whole lot longer trip. We probably want to go from. You kind of want to turn it into a holiday as well. So going and seeing like New York City would be nice. But that's, again, it's even further and longer, and then the prices have gone up, and I'm just monitoring. At the moment, I'm monitoring flight prices. So there was a sale on recently, but not to New York. It was to everywhere else. So the other option is we just do what we do before and fly into Chicago, and hopefully we can convince T.O. to drive up from Texas. But
to Chicago to Ohio.
We'll figure some way
it's kind of on the way.
No, we won't.
It's kind of on the
do
way.
that. We won't do that.
Well, if you fly into Atlanta, we could probably work something out.
So this is the problem, is that from Australia and New Zealand, they only fly to certain certain locations. So Qantas here is even worse.
Chicago and California somewhere.
I can't believe they wouldn't fly to Atlanta.
No.
Why wouldn't they?
So this is
why wouldn't they?
So this is
you don't even want to be there, Jim.
Well, no, I don't want to be there. I've seen how those people drive.
And apparently they steal radio equipment. So I mean,
Atlanta, not Alabama. I said Atlanta. That's in Georgia. It's like a whole nother state over there.
Sorry, I heard A and begins with A and ends with A.
So this is where they
Yankees.
Fly.
Oh, Dallas. I'll get you Dallas.
So from Australia, they fly to Vancouver, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Dallas, and New York. From New Zealand, they fly to all these locations and Chicago. So I can't fly from Australia to Chicago, which is the closest location to Ohio. I have to fly from here, Hobart, to Sydney or Melbourne, from Sydney or Melbourne to Auckland, and then from there to there. Last year, I was able to fly directly from Hobart to Auckland and then across. So it was a lot less travel, transit time.
Right.
And I don't really want to fly domestically in the United States. No offense.
None taken. I don't want to either, and I live here.
Well, to be fair, there is no domestic flight in the U.S. Once you're past airport security, you're outside of the country.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Is Chris going to try and get me a private jet
It would be a better
Taylor's?
use of the money than a radio station in Jasper.
Well, Taylor Swift, she's in Australia at the moment, and she flew on her private jet all the way down here, and everyone's been complaining to her about her CO2 emissions. So I can't do that. Everyone can complain about my CO2 emissions.
No, you're not trying to be a superstar environmentalist. You're fine.
That is true.
It's only when you're a hypocrite that they complain about those things.
I don't have CO2 emissions. I might have methane emissions.
CH4, yeah.
CH4, yeah.
Okay,
boys, are we about to wrap this up? Because I need to go. My wife is going to be home with groceries and dinner, and like Ape, I've got to pee.
Okay. Well, I guess it's good enough time is seeing as though you're going to go. We can reveal that stuff about Jim.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You might as well tell the story. Tell the story.
Why don't you sign off now? We'll carry on.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, well, as you know, Jim, he